Hi friends, here's Miss Pineda again. I'm here trying to see if maybe this could work with the whole situation that we're in. Things have changed a whole lot, huh? And so, well, I usually read this at the end of the year, the whole fourth quarter with my students. And this year, I don't want for it to be any different. And there's lots of activities that I have created for you guys to enjoy this book as much as I do. The author of this book has written really cool stories. He wrote Matilda, he wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and this one, which is one of my favorite, is called the BFG. Okay, so we're gonna read chapter by chapter, and every week we'll discuss and we'll do activities with it. Okay, so let's begin. The BFG. First chapter is called Witching Hour. So just follow along with me as I read out loud for you guys. This is what I would do in class. So let's see if we can try it and see how it works, okay? The Witching Hour. Sophie couldn't sleep. A brilliant moonbeam was slanting through a gap in the curtains. It was shining onto her pillow. If you look at the picture, there is the light of the moon going into her face, and it doesn't let her sleep. So I guess that's what they mean by that. So see, a brilliant moonbeam was slanting through a gap in the curtain. It was shining right onto her pillow. The other children in the dormitory had been asleep for hours. Sophie closed her eyes and lay quite still. She tried very hard to doze off. It was no good. The moonbeam was like a silver blade slicing through the room onto her face. The house was absolutely silent. No voices came up from downstairs. There were no footsteps on the floor above either. The window behind the curtain was wide open, but nobody was walking on the pavement outside. No cars went by on the street. Not the tiniest sound could be heard anywhere. Sophie had never known such a silence. So everything was so quiet. She couldn't even fall asleep because it was too quiet, and the light of the moon was on her face. So, perhaps she told herself, this was what they call the witching hour. That's important. You guys need to know what the witching hour is. So, listen carefully. The witching hour, somebody had once whispered to her, was a special moment in the middle of the night when every child and every grown-up was in a deep sleep, and all the dark things came out from hiding and had the world to themselves. The moonbeam was brighter than ever on Sophie's pillow, sorry. She decided to get out of bed to close the gap in the curtains. You got punished if you were caught out of bed after lights out, even if you said that you had to go to the lavatory. That was not accepted as an excuse, and they would punish you just the same. But there was no one about now. Sophie was sure of that. She reached out for her glasses that lay on the chair beside her bed. They had steel rims and very thick lenses, and she could hardly see a thing without them. She put them on. Then she slipped out of bed and tiptoed over to the window. When she reached the curtains, Sophie hesitated. She longed to duck underneath them and lean out of the window to see what the world looked like now that the witching hour was at hand. She listened again. Everywhere it was deathly still. The longing to look out became so strong that she couldn't resist it. Quickly, she ducked under the curtains and leaned out the window. In the silvery moonlight, the village street she knew so well seemed completely different. The houses looked bent and crooked, like houses in a fairy tale. Everything was pale and ghostly and milky white. Across the road, she could see Mrs. Rance's shop, where you bought buttons and wool. and bits of elastic. It didn't look real. There was something dim and misty about that too. Sophie allowed her eye to travel further and further down the street. Suddenly, she froze. There was something coming up the street on the opposite side. It was something black, something tall and black, something very tall and very black and very thin. Okay, friends, and that is the end of chapter 1. Okay, so basically, there's this little girl named Sophie, and she is in her room trying to sleep. By the way, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the story a little bit. She is an orphan, and she lives in an orphanage, which is where kids don't have parents live, and they have a time that they have to go to sleep and they cannot get up, not even to go to the bathroom. Lavatory is just a fancy word for bathroom. She couldn't, but the light that was on the gap in the curtains didn't let her fall asleep, so she decided to get up and try to close it. But when she did that, she decided to look out the window, and then she saw something black and tall. How scary. But I'm gonna leave it there and leave you in suspense and see what happens in the second chapter tomorrow. Love you.